Lowe's knows when you're looking for reliability, the right brand makes all the difference. And now, Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retailer for the Whirlpool water treatment line, including their Wi-Fi softener, under-sink filtration system, and more. With Whirlpool's proven performance and our everyday low prices, better tasting, better quality water is within reach. Shop pro-trusted brands like Whirlpool and more, in-store or online. Lowe's, we help, you save.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
A quick heads up before we get started. This episode contains adult language and some inappropriate and, unfortunately, extremely catchy songs. All right, you've been warned. Why don't you introduce yourself so that TBD listeners know who you are?
Hi, my name is Chris Molanphy, and I'm the host of the Slate podcast Hit Parade and the writer of their Why Is This Song Number One series.
Chris is also a very good sport because he did not know what we were up to. I asked you on today because we want to play some music for you and get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Let's start, guys, with the first cut.
You're so depraved, you love the scent of sin. Want to dive deep into the dark abyss within.
It feels like something written by a large language model, only because even though I'm accustomed to not always understanding pop song lyrics, because sometimes, things are garbled, best as I can tell, the lyrics to that don't make a whole lot of sense. And that's important for country music in particular, because country music is more than most current popular song forms really about the lyrics.
You might be onto something. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do to you. Let's play the chorus.
Nothing goes to waste. Make love to my shitter. It's your destiny. From my brown hole.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Can you see I'm blushing on the Zoom? Yeah.
I can.
This is so intimate.
It's so intimate.
And yet
we
not
did
intimate
not
at all, in a
prepare
way.
you for what was coming.
No, you really didn't. Wow. Okay, then. I have to assume that somebody prompted that song.
Yep, somebody did. And there is an AI-generated singer, Winona Barton, on the song's YouTube page. She's a generic-looking brunette hot girl in what seems like a latex tank top and an absolutely enormous cowboy hat. As a critic, though, do you think it's catchy?
I mean, it's a little catchy. So was Friday by Rebecca Black a dozen years ago, right? That is a purportedly terrible song that a lot of people still remember. So it's entirely possible that you could prompt an AI generator to come up with a song that would turn out to be really catchy. At the same time, it doesn't have that X factor of, something that makes a song compelling. The little human quirks are what make a pop song compelling. And you don't hear a whole lot of that other than the lyric. The lyric is the thing that, gobsmacks you. But in most other regards, musically, it's a pretty standard, arpeggiated, strummy, you could put it in a white box with the black Helvetica letters country song on it.
Then I played Chris a second song.
dust on the wind, boots on the ground, smoke in the sky. No.
I see you nodding, Chris.
I've heard this one. I hope it's okay that I've been spoiled.
Tell me what you think.
To give full credit where credit is due, my friends at the Switched on Pop podcast from Vox, shout out to my buddies Nate and Charlie. They actually dissected this song on a recent episode of their podcast about AI music and talked about its, uncanny valleyness. The fact that it, approximates kind of a protest record or if not a protest record, a socially conscious record. And how the phrase dust on the wind approaches the line from that Kansas song from the 70s, Dust in the Wind. It comes closer than our first record to making cogent sense. But when you actually pull apart the lyrics, it's not saying a whole heck of a lot. It's a protest or a socially conscious song about not much of anything.
It's called Dust on the Wind, purportedly by a group called the Velvet Sundown, but really by AI.
That one comes a lot closer to the plausibility of a real pop song. I wouldn't say it's very good. The minute you pay, even a modicum of attention to it, it sort of, wisps away. It blows away like dust on the wind. Sorry, I just stumbled into that terrible pun.
But if it was on in the background in a bar or a store, you might not know it's AI.
It does its job, but it's utterly uninspired. And in terms of what you're asking me about feelings, it's kind of like, I'm okay with this serving a function, in our economy, but I'm not hopeful that this will be the future of artistic creation. And that's the part that depresses me, the idea that anybody would want to pass something like this off as meaningful. That's the part that makes me unsettled.
Today on the show, get ready to get even more unsettled because AI music is suddenly everywhere you turn. I'm Lizzie O'Leary, and you're listening to What Next TBD, a show about technology, power, and how the future will be determined. Stick around.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You get too many resumes and not enough candidates with the right skills or experience. But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/TBD. ZipRecruiter's smart technology identifies top talent for your roles quickly. The smart technology scans thousands of resumes to find candidates with the right skills, education, and experience for your job. And immediately after you post your job, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology starts showing you qualified people. Let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free exclusively at ZipRecruiter.com/TBD. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/TBD. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. If you're running a business, you know every customer conversation matters. Whether you're a one-person operation or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. OpenPhone works through an app on your phone or computer, and your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and texts like a shared inbox. Plus, OpenPhone's AI agent can be set up in minutes to handle calls after hours, answer questions, and capture leads so you never miss a customer. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone to manage their business's calls and texts. OpenPhone is offering What Next TBD listeners 20% off of the first 6 months at openphone.com/TBD. That's OPENPHONE.com/TBD. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Like Celine or the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the flavor and left, she know what she needs.
I think it's safe to say that the debut of this song, supposedly by Drake and The Weeknd, marked a big moment in AI music. It was 2023, and it wasn't them, but it sounded plausible. And then more and more AI music started piling up. Last fall, the Department of Justice charged a man named Mike Smith with fraud for creating and profiting from AI music.
Basically, this man, Mike Smith, allegedly, everything is alleged that I'm about to say, he allegedly made thousands and thousands of AI-generated songs with the help of co-conspirators, including one who appears to be the CEO of an AI song generation platform.
That's Kate Nibbs, a senior writer at Wired, who covers how AI is changing art and music.
And, making the songs in and of themselves isn't illegal. Like, you can make crappy AI music and put it on the internet. But the Department of Justice claims that he then, after uploading all of this AI music under a bunch of fake band names, basically employed a bot army to continually stream the music. And he was able to make over $10 million in royalties from the streaming services doing that, which is nuts because...
So he was juicing the plays, basically, with bots.
Yeah. Majorly juicing the plays, allegedly. And, $10 million from streaming services, that's like unheard of money for real artists. That's not what you make. So I think the scale of the juicing drew the attention of the... United States government. And now we'll see what happens, because it's actually like what he's being brought to trial over is this sort of fraud conspiracy case, because even just using bots, it's definitely against the terms of service of these companies, but it's not like forthrightly the most illegal thing ever. So yeah, I was very intrigued by the case just as someone who covers AI and loves a good true crime yarn. But then over the course of reporting it, I ended up talking to like a lot of people within the streaming industry. And there's this whole cottage industry now of companies that do AI detection for streamers. And that they really blew my mind with how much AI music is on all these platforms.
Could you explain for people who don't understand how someone goes about making AI music and getting it on to Spotify or YouTube or whatever platform?
It's shockingly easy, especially if you're using some of the major generators like Suno and Udio are the two biggest names in the game. And you just sort of type in a few words that you describe a song that you want to listen to. They do have guardrails, so I can't say make me a song in the style of the Beatles' Hey Jude, but about a boat or whatever. It won't let you explicitly impersonate certain artists, but you could say, make me a song in the style of extremely popular 1960s Britpop ballads with piano, and then it will generate. You can get what you want.
So if you type in a prompt that says something like Santa Claus, 1970s soul, and drugs, you'd probably get something like this.
I called Santa Claus, sniffing cocaine.
That is I Caught Santa Claus Sniffing Cocaine by, Jessica Dickinham. I'm so sorry.
So it takes seconds to put in a prompt, and it takes under a minute to get a song back. So you can churn out music at just a velocity that is completely unprecedented. And then there's also some other AI generators where you can fiddle around a bit more. And if you're a more sophisticated music producer, there's all sorts of stuff. But if you're just a regular person, you can still make a crazy amount of music within a few hours. And then you just, if you wanted to put it on streaming platforms, there's all of these different distribution companies. Some of them you only pay like $20 a month, and you upload it to those distribution companies and they pop it on all the major streamers.
Is there a way to know how much of the music on the streamers is AI generated?
So right now, most of the streamers are fairly tight-lipped about that. Like, you're not going to get a straight answer from the biggest players in the game. I've found it really illuminating to talk to Deezer, which is a French music streaming service that's like fairly popular. It's just not in the same league as Spotify. They're taking a very different approach. They're flagging AI generated music for consumers, not just internally, and they're releasing the numbers. So the last time I spoke to them, they said that 18% of the music uploaded there every day was AI generated. So
wow.
It's a lot.
But like, if you went on Spotify and played a few things, like, you might not know.
Yeah, like, you might not think it's the greatest song you've ever heard, but it's not. They don't sound like robots. It's like just sort of mediocre background music.
You, in some of your reporting, have talked to the people who are doing this. The person who put Make Love to My Shitter was someone who goes by the screen name Band Vinyl Collection. Can you explain what they do and how they do it?
Yes. So the person who does Band Vinyl Collection wouldn't tell me their name, so they remain a bit of a mystery. And they wouldn't go into granular detail, but they did tell me, they use most of the major AI song generators. So it's not like they're doing anything super sophisticated. They're basically doing what anyone could do, which is fooling around with these consumer-grade AI song generation tools and then using these distribution companies that I was talking about to put them up on streaming services. This person in particular, they're going for this sort of novelty song niche. And they've actually built up like a genuine human following.
One of Band Vinyl Collection's most popular songs on YouTube is called I Want Two Guys in My Ass. It has racked up more than 1 million views in 4 months. And people seem into the music, or at least the joke. Each of Band Vinyl Collection songs have a fake person listed as the artist, like Winona Barton for Make Love to My Shitter, the horribly catchy song we started this show with. If you scroll down YouTube, you get comments like, I miss the times when everything was so romantic and beautiful.
People know what's going on and are having fun buying into the fantasy that this vulgar woman existed.
But then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the case of Velvet Sundown. Can you tell me that story?
What a ride that has been. So Velvet Sundown appeared out of nowhere on Spotify and other major streamers, sort of looking like a Fleetwood Mac style, like 70s group with some soft focus imagery, and the music sounded like yacht rocky, sort of nothing incredible, but if you were playing a mix of 70s soft rock hits and these songs slipped in, you wouldn't really notice a difference.
It's basically grocery store music. Listen to this one called Let It Burn.
So this band drops a bunch of music at once on the streamers and starts really taking off. And it comes out, a lot of journalists picked up on it and started suspecting that it was AI generated. Then there was this whole drama where the Velvet Sundown, I keep wanting to say Velvet Underground, it's disrespectful to Lou Reed. The Velvet Sundown's X account sort of started blasting the media for lying about it being AI generated, and then people were reaching out to the account and emailing and talking on the phone with this guy, and then like a day later he was saying it was a hoax, he wasn't associated with this band. Then the Spotify account for the band came out and said they are AI generated, but no one's actually talked to the people behind it. It's like there's this whole messy situation where no one knows who's actually behind the band. but it's still getting a shocking amount of listens on the major streamers and is sort of the most visible example right now of how a lot of AI music is just getting swept up into different playlists and people are listening to it and not realizing that it's AI generated.
I believe they got 1 million downloads.
That's nuts. It's plausible, but have you listened to any of it?
Yeah.
It's fine, but like I wouldn't be
It's
smashing the download button. But yeah, so the popularity of this band, I think, is a really good example of where we're headed, more so than the novelty butt songs, unfortunately.
After the break, how the music platforms and industry feel about all this is more complicated than you might think.
At Sierra, you'll always find apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. But right now it's clearance time, so you can save even more on everything you need to get active and outside. Visit your local Sierra store today.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well, this, I think, gets us into some really interesting questions about the business model behind not just AI music, but the streamers themselves. Because if there is AI music on basically every major digital platform, my understanding is that platforms don't need to tell their audience that something is AI generated. And so are we in a situation where a Spotify, a YouTube, what have you, is making money off of the AI generated music and consumers are just listening to it, but they don't really know what they're listening to?
Yeah, so you're absolutely correct. There's no like law that says they have to tell us, and most of the streamers do not tell us. YouTube does now flag some content as AI generated, but that's still a rarity, and it's still kind of incomplete in a lot of ways, because one of the ways that they do that is just ask creators to proactively flag that their music is AI generated, and I don't think that that's a very popular choice. So they don't have to tell us, which is why we don't know the exact contours of the problem on the major platforms. When it comes to making money, so right now, it seems like people who are putting a lot of AI-generated songs up are getting royalties in the same way that they would if it was human-made, because they're not coming out and even saying anything. But there is a lot of chatter about how this could benefit the platforms going forward because, for example, the platforms could be making AI-generated music themselves and putting it up there. Like, why wouldn't they? We already know that Spotify does this thing called perfect fit content where they hire studio musicians to create like bulk music that they then own the rights outright, so they don't have to pay out royalties in certain genres. So it's an obvious step.
And then there is an important legal wrinkle. AI music is not protected by copyright.
There's nothing to stop anyone from taking the AI music and doing whatever they want with it. I don't even know if it's prohibited for if I was going to like just straight up take this Velvet Sundowns playlist and put it up under my own name. I don't even know if they'd have recourse for that. So it just sort of opens up this whole world of various like antics you could get up to with trying to make money off of the streamers in that way. That's probably really not good for real musicians.
Outside of the platforms, the recording industry writ large clearly is trying to figure out what to do about AI music. Last year, the main trade group sued some AI music makers. They so far seem to be getting what they want out of Congress, but it certainly feels like the recording industry and the artists it represents cannot hold back this tide forever, or at least not in this kind of lawless way that exists right now.
The royalties situation in music is like way more complicated than royalties in books or really any other format. So I think it's going to be difficult for them to actually figure out the details of the settlement. But the fact that they are, I think, going to settle, and it's because they know they cannot stop this. So they need to at least figure out a way to make money off of it. One thing that I've been very curious about is, there's been this whole movement to make music catalogs a big financial commodity. Like Justin Bieber selling his catalog for however many millions of dollars. Like that's been going on for a while, this like hyper financialization of music in general and the catalog specifically. And I've been wondering, okay, are the people who own these catalogs going to make a bunch of AI generated music based on that and then put it online and see if they can have another revenue stream this way? I would not be surprised. That hasn't happened yet, to be clear.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Let's say you're Taylor Swift. You've recently gone through this huge effort to get your catalog, and you can command a price for that. But then what happens to an up-and-coming artist, or even just like a working, touring artist? I don't see how they make any money.
No, I mean, it's so sad, but they're screwed in so many different ways with how the music industry is set up right now. Like when we were talking about royalties and AI, the way that royalties are paid out from the major streamers is like there's one big pot and then you get a percentage. It's a whole thing. So it's not like, I play 5 songs by an up-and-coming artist and they get 5 cents per song. It's this whole calculation. And so the torrent of AI music that's going into the listening pool will end up taking money away from them, because even if I accidentally play 5 AI generated songs, that's going to mess with the payout calculations.
You're diluting the pool.
Yeah, sorry that this is a very unscientific way of talking about it.
No, it makes sense. Like if you've ever worked, I don't know if you've ever worked at a restaurant or a bar where everybody pooled their tips, like, yeah, it would be diluting the pool.
Yeah, imagine a bunch of shitty robot waiters showed up and like really messed up how much you were taking home. So they're just in a super tough spot. I don't really see any way that this is going to work out well for them, unfortunately.
So some of this takes us back kind of to where we started, which is how consumers feel about this. Do we have any sense right now about how people who are listening feel about AI music? If they like it, if they don't like it, if it doesn't matter if it's sort of ambient beats that are on in the background when you're studying?
I think there's not going to be a monolithic response. There is a group of people who strongly oppose the encroachment of AI into the arts broadly. But I feel like a lot of those people aren't using services like Spotify and Apple Music anyways. Those are the people who are like buying records on Bandcamp and vinyls and are just more conscientious about how they're contributing to the music, like supporting their local artists. For most people, I don't think there's going to be clamoring to be a rabid fan of a group like Velvet Sundown, but I also don't think they're going to like throw up and turn it off if they find out that it's AI. I think it will just, most people consume music passively, and I don't think they're going to mind that much that what they're consuming passively is AI. I'd like to be proven wrong about this, but frankly, like, I'd probably be mildly annoyed if I found out a song that was playing in the background was AI, but I wouldn't like go up to the bartender and demand they turn it off. So I don't think we're going to get the amount of pushback necessary to wipe this sort of thing out.
Kate Nibbs, thank you so much for your reporting and for coming on to talk about this.
You know, I might fire up an AI song generator and make a song about our experience.
You have to share it with us so we can play it.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
After we recorded this interview, we had to try it ourselves. Using the AI music generator Suno, our producer Evan Campbell put in the prompt, write a song about two journalists discussing how AI music is changing the music industry. It took us about 5 minutes. All right, play us on out of here, robots.
She said to me in a whisper so sly, are we the watchers or the ones in the lie? Machines are singing better than we do. I laughed and said that's old news true. The pen, the mic, the beat.
And that is our show today. What Next TBD is produced by Shayna Roth and Patrick Fort and edited by Evan Campbell. Mia Lobel is the executive producer here at Slate, and TBD is part of the larger What Next family. And if you like what you heard, except for the truly horrible songs, the best way to support us is to join Slate Plus. You get all your favorite Slate podcasts, including this one, ad-free. Just head on over to slate.com/whatnextplus to sign up. All right, we'll be back next week with more episodes. I'm Lizzie O'Leary. Thanks for listening.
Or are we just passengers on this ride? The melody's clear, but whose is the voice? The artist or tech? Do we have a choice? Oh, tell me